Hello, E-Man here again with a little segment on the BBM. There's so many things I could say about this. I'm going to try and keep it as short as I can. BBM, BB mover. Well, why would I call it that? Well, it's not exactly a BB machine gun. This is a proof of concept, by the way. This is my first crack at this. It's not a BB machine gun. Does not have any kind of reciprocating action. It does not. No regulated fire. It's also not a BB blaster. BB blasters generally feed from a pressurized hopper, and this thing, and I'm probably going to start losing you real soon here. Okay, obviously doesn't feed by a pressurized hopper. I mean, you have full line of sight through this thing like looking through a straw. And so many of you are probably going to say, okay, well, you're so full of shit I can't watch this anymore, E, so I'll give you a minute to click off. Okay, those of you that are left, there's a pretty cool idea going on here. And in order to explain it, I've got to go back a little over 30 years. So now you're saying, okay, well, I didn't click on this to listen to some old guy talk about the old days. So I'll give you a minute to click off. Okay, so those of you that are still here, hang with me because this is really interesting stuff. I'm not going to lie and tell you that this is a great rapid fire BB gun. I don't think it is. But there's some really cool stuff going on here. Like if this thing is open on both ends, how the hell does it work? So to get to my story, a little over 30 years ago, I was a punk apprentice. And I was working with a journeyman. We were up in the air 80, 90 feet. And lashed to the handrail where we were working was one of these. This is commonly, there's a lot of names for this thing. People argue over it sometimes for some useless reason. It's nothing to argue over. Generally, the most common nomenclature used with this thing is it's an air mover. So you're starting to see the BBM thing already at this point. And the way this works is you have a number of ports here where you can feed service air, or even steam for that matter. So you feed 80, 90 PSIG service air, is generally what it is. Into this venturi. There's a venturi right here, and there's a ring in here, which if you look in the muzzle of this, you would see a ring just inside the wall with a bunch of pinholes in it. And so the air feeds in through this feed ring, blows through these holes, and there's a boundary layer of air that runs right down the inside of this horn-shaped piece. And there's a reason for that too. Anyway, that fast-moving air induces a draft on this end. This is just a bonding wire because anytime you've got air moving through something, you actually generate static electricity, and you can get a pretty good zap from these things if they're not grounded properly. So this thing's lashed off to the handrail, hissing away, moving air like crazy. And the reason this is horn-shaped or shaped like a megaphone is because back pressure is not an option. So that's why it looks the way it does. And it probably actually increases efficiency just a little bit. So the guy I'm working with is up there with me. And he grabs a sleeve of cone-shaped drinking cups. Opens both ends, tears all the flaps off, and says, "Hey kid, watch this." And shoves the end of this sleeve right into the asshole of this air mover, and 200 cups got sucked into this thing and shot out the other end, say it with me, like a machine gun. And so ever since then, I've had this nagging question in my mind: could I do this with BBs? And I'm happy to say the answer is hell yeah. So that's right there you pretty much know everything about how the BBM operates. So if I do like this, right, and we get like so, I mean, you're all experts on this now. I mean, it's, you know, all there is to know. So air comes in right here, right? The BBs, there's your sleeve of cups, here's your air mover, and the BBs are sucked in from this end and blown out this end, and that's it. There's nothing else to it. And that's how the stupid thing can work with both ends being open. So you got on the air, it's all on the air mover part, right? Because you got this is the induced draft side, aka suck. This is the forced draft side, aka blow. And so as wide open as this thing is, what really and truly makes it work is the fact that these tubes are two different diameters. These are the little, this is the fine print now, okay? So we've got the 1/4 inch brake line tubing, the BBs fit in real nice. And then there's just to give you an idea here, right here from the end. This is 3/8 brake line. So this is very, very sloppy fit for the BBs. And it has to be that way because as soon as we generate any back pressure at all, no worky. It's just not gonna happen. So that's the reason for that. So there's a piece of 5/16, which is the size in between the 1/4 inch and the 3/8. It's an inch long in here. You can see my capillary hole here where I super glued the bushing in. And then the feed tube actually runs another 2 inches. So right here is where the feed tube ends. And I did that intentionally because I wanted to get a little bit of laminar flow with my air feed because turbulence is noisy, really noisy. And I didn't want it to make a lot of really obnoxious, it's a horrible sound. And that works, so I'm really happy with that. So that's kind of how that goes on. Just ahead of the bushing is where I'm feeding my air. And then of course it generates the vacuum necessary to suck the BBs out of the feed tube into the blow tube. And then the BBs basically just, the breeze catches them and they're carried down the barrel, kind of like tumbleweed in Main Street of a ghost town. But here, and I'm not gonna really work with this too much anymore. There's not a lot, it's so simple, there's not a lot I can do to improve it. Hey, if you all have some kind of idea, that's great. One thing I believe is to do the same thing would probably work a lot better with the airsoft BBs, mainly because they are lower in sectional density and higher drag, which means they're going to tumble a lot faster than a big tumbleweed is going to catch the air and tumble more efficiently than a small heavy tumbleweed. So there may be possibly some potential for those of you that are interested in the airsoft stuff. Other than that, I mean, the biggest challenge is to keep the BBs from falling out of your tube because it's wide open. So basically on the back, I have this little, my old friend, the little hitch pin. I got sloppy here and this hole is actually drilled off center. That's what I get for using a drill press instead of drilling them by hand. But so this little hitch pin right here keeps the BBs from rolling out this way. And then there's a little airsoft people, you might be interested in this little deal. There's I don't know if you can, let me get it turned the right way here. You can see there's a hole there. And this is just a cable tie. It's got a hole drilled in it. And there's if I can get it pointed the right way, you can see in there possibly, there's a BB glued in there, super glued, of course. And that BB sticks through the hole, protrudes into the ID just enough to make the BBs hang up so that they don't roll out the bore when you point the thing down. So, and that works out pretty good. So the cable tie makes a nice leaf spring, and there's ways you can adjust it. You can shim it or tape it far. I just chose to tape it farther back toward the end to make it a little bit weaker. But you can see, I mean, so it actually moves up and down as each BB passes by. And I don't know if you can see this. This is kind of an interesting little thing I had to make an improvement on. There's a really teeny tiny, I had to file slots in here to break the vacuum because it took a while to generate enough vacuum to get the BB started because it actually sucked this detent ball down so tight that it wouldn't let the BBs move, and then he had to wait a good while for the BBs to start moving until it generated enough vacuum. So I did file a couple of slots in here to break the vacuum on this BB so that it would let loose sooner, and that worked out pretty well. But check this out, airsoft people, because I know you guys are interested in this, right? So if a BB is coming through here, hangs up on the detent ball, right? The top is going to hang up, the bottom is going to lead, otherwise known as backspin. Now, that means nothing in the BBM, but if you have a DIY airsoft rifle or even a semi-auto or even a full rock and roll device, and put this about 1 BB diameter back from the end of the muzzle, I know a lot of you are interested in ways of putting backspin on the airsoft pellets, so give that a try, see how it works. I'd love to know. My theory is that it's got potential. So, at any rate, that's the BBM. I wanted to do this real quick because this is not long for this world, and I'm going to adapt this thing to my bug salt apocalypse design real soon. But I thought while I was at it, I might as well give the BB theory a try and see what happened. Also, if for some reason I'm not satisfied with that, there's still hope. I could crop this thing and mount it to a sturdy, airtight container, and I could breed Blake's. Wow, there's a lingual infarction if I ever heard one. I could bleed brakes with this thing, right? Little canister vacuum. I could suck the motor oil out of my lawn tractor with it. I mean, the uses go on and on. This is really right in here an air-powered vacuum. Air-powered vacuums, I don't have a lot of call for air-powered vacuums, but when I do, I keep them, they're easy to build. I keep one handy, and when I need it, I'm glad I got it. So that's just another offshoot of this whole design. It's really not a design. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. It's an adaptation is what it is. There's absolutely nothing new here. This whole concept has been around for centuries. You see the bladeless fans now, and they market these things like they're new and revolutionary. And wow, you want to talk bullshit? No, there's some bullshit. There's nothing new or revolutionary about them. They're just as much an adaptation as the BBM. So yeah, don't let them fool you. If you want to pay the money for them, I guess they are kind of cool. Go with what you like. But that could be a DIY project as well. So anyway, there you have it. There's everything you need to know about the BBM. Safely do what you will with it. There's nothing extraordinary here by any means. And for those of you that are still here, appreciate you sticking around. See ya. All right, come on, bitch. Let's go. Cut it off. Come on. Introducing the BBM. It's BB Mover. quite possibly the most ineffective rapid-fire BB gun ever devised. Allow me to demonstrate. The BBM. If power and accuracy are not on your list of desirable attributes in a rapid-fire BB gun, then the BBM is for you. Thanks for watching.